Now we are.
Just now. Yep.
Got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to use Marilyn's website as a sample. And let me share my screen here. Okay, so just a couple of things I wanted to go over. In meeting with some of the NIGP chapters on one-on-one training, we've come across a couple of things. As you know, when you launched your website, you sent a database to Michael Fisher or Member Uploads at ClubExpress, and they uploaded your members. And if you didn't assign them pre-assigned membership numbers, they would be uploaded as just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then in the people options here, under the people tab at the bottom, you assign your next number. So let's say that Michael uploaded 100 members of your organization at the beginning, then this should have been set to 101. So that the next person who joined the group would have membership number 101. What I have found is in some of the chapters, the membership number was never set to the next consecutive number.
We're talking about something I don't even fool with.
What was that?
NIGP.
Can we ask people to go in chat, please?
Ask what questions you sent me. But
Chiquita, can you put yourself on mute, please?
Okay. So what I found is that some chapters did not know to do this, and they had their next membership number set to 0. So what happens is then you're going to, or to 1. What happens is then you're going to have member numbers who are members that have duplicate numbers. It's not a huge deal. It's you can work around it, but where it becomes a problem is when you as an admin need to go into a person's profile and maybe perhaps make a change to their email address or update their city, the company that they work for. And then you click save, it'll say, it won't allow you to save it because it's going to tell you that you have a duplicate membership number. So, excuse me, what I recommend doing is going to the chapter tab and running a data export and choosing just, all members, including expired and dropped. And when you run that report, you can sort, there's a column of membership number. You can sort the column by membership number, find out what the largest membership number is. Let's say it's 105. Then go into your people tab, people options, and set the next membership number as 106. I'm not going to save this, but you set the next membership number as 106. You will never have to go back and do this again. Okay. Once you do it the first time, you don't have to go in constantly and reassign the next membership number. ClubExpress will automatically, when a new member joins, this will change to 107. Another new member, this will automatically change to 108. So you don't have to update it again. Now, meanwhile, cancel leave. Meanwhile, you're still going to have members who have duplicate membership numbers. So when you come across that, if you're ever trying to update somebody's profile and you get to the save and it says you can't save this because there's a duplicate membership number, you could either go into every single member that you currently have and work through and change their membership numbers, or you can just do something like what I've been recommending. Let's say this membership number was 105 and there's already a membership or member number. Even if it's expired, it's still going to be, or even if you've dropped them and converted them to a non-member, that number still exists and you can't keep that number. So what I recommend doing is just adding an A. So then when you see a membership number with an A at the end, the reason it has an A, or whatever you decide to do, the reason it has that A is telling you, oh, that's because there's 2 members in there with the same membership number. So that is my suggested workaround if you come across this. Like I said, I have had a few chapters in one-on-one training that we have determined that the membership number in people option was never set to the next consecutive membership number once your original upload was sent in and processed by ClubExpress. So does anybody have any questions about that? Nope. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to discuss under people options is what I've been finding from some of the other chapters is they're saying that when a secondary member gets added, it's not capturing their organization name. So the reason that is under the control panel, people options, and then if you scroll down to secondary, right here, it's set to basic info only. And I'll show you the difference between that. And it's also set to do not capture email address. I found this for several chapters. I'm going to show you an example of what this looks like. Now, if a member were to join on their own, because the primary has provided the code to somebody to join on their own, it's going to populate automatically the company, City of Baltimore, and more information. And actually, we found out today that it's also, if I were to go in here as a new person and try to join this group and use this code, this member profile, Tony Reed, all of his information auto populates into the new profile, including his email address, which is not right. So I've sent a support ticket to ClubExpress on that because that should not be happening. Sure, it can populate City of Baltimore and perhaps the address, but it should not be putting Tony Reed's email into the new member profile that is being created. So, but when somebody does it on their own, it does ask for all the information. But if you're doing it as an admin and you go to the profile of the primary and you click here and you go to add a new member, it's only asking for the first and last name. And that is because now if I change this under people options and I say require the email address, so a lot of people didn't have this set. And so new members were being added to the profile, secondary members, and there was no email address for them, which means they're never going to get any communications. So now if I go into Tony's and I want to add a new member, now it asks for the email address. But if I go back and I change it to full member information, people options, and require detailed info, now when I go in as an admin or Tony as not an admin, as the primary member, and I click on my secondaries and I go to add, now it asks for the full information. So that's what, if you don't have that set in your people options, you want to make sure that you go to the control panel, people options, scroll down to secondary members, and make sure you're collecting detailed info and that you're requiring an email address. So those are the two things that I wanted to show people that I've come across in one-on-one meetings. And then I'm opening it up if anyone else has any other questions.
Stacy, before we get to you with your hand up, Jenny asked a question about the limit for that and saw that Tony had 60 and they had 75. Is that something that they set up?
That was
Yes,
my question.
Okay.
Yeah, automatically in ClubExpress, it doesn't allow, I think it only allows like 5 secondary members. And if you want more than 5, you have to send an email to ClubExpress and ask them to raise the limit of secondary members.
Stacy, that was your question. Okay. Jenny, did you have another one?
I do have another one. Washington State chapter, Yvonne. I know I asked you this question, but I think it's also good to share with the group because this was an inquiry that may also affect other people. This has to do with marking attendance for an event.
Okay.
So I'll wait till you get to that page.
Which event was it?
So the procurement summit.
Is that in the
March.
future? Yeah, okay.
Actually, it just got done. If you change your categories, the procurement summit. It was on, yeah, 3/6. There you go. That one. And I think
Okay.
we have to hit the pencil, right, to mark the attendance if we wanted to edit.
You can actually do it from the front end too.
Yeah. Okay.
But when you do it on the front end, you can't mass mark. So it's easier if you're like for instance, if there's 100 people who registered and 98 of them attended, if you go to the back end to mark attendance, then you can check all and then
Right.
uncheck the ones who didn't show up. So that's a lot quicker way to do it.
Right. So this is a feature we did. And my question that you answered was, I made an assumption that the one called unmarked attendance, where it says, which is good, that it doesn't cancel the registration, but like unmarking them, I think my question was, can you confirm that the unmarked attendance are the no-show folks for our event? Like I just didn't check them, like, so they were no-shows. And you're saying no, you're saying unmarked attendance is to revert back from marked attendance for no-shows, don't do anything. So for folks that are doing an attendance, if they didn't show up, just leave them empty.
Right. So like here's a long list and let's say Nick is the only one that didn't show up. So we check all and then we can say Nick didn't show up. I don't see Nick right now. Oh, here we go, Nick. So then we would just uncheck that. But let's say you accidentally did check Nick as attended, then you can go back and do unmark. And so it's saying everybody here is attended and you can say, no, I need to remove somebody that didn't actually attend.
Does that I'm just curious in the room, is that how you guys are you guys using that platform when you're doing your attendance? I think what's important that I learned from ClubExpress is I believe we have to take attendance within, is it 90 days from the event, Yvonne, before we have to have the members do it manually?
I believe, yeah, it is 90 days.
So that's important. So for the Pro D chair, they need to do this either A, right after an event, or B, before the 90 days up. Otherwise, you got work cut out, and members would have to go, well, what happened to my credit? I didn't get it. Now they have to submit it their way, which is a different instruction. And we've had that. We've run into that with some of our lunch and learns. So there is a way to do it, but that's on a separate, instruction.
Right. And going back to what we talked about last time with the event certificate. So anybody who you marked as attended can go into their profile and they will see that they attended. There'll be a way for them to print their attendance certificate. But
Yeah.
people who are not, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this last time, as of right now, ClubExpress does not support this for non-members to be able to get a certificate, but they are working on adding that in the future. I don't know if that's something that really matters for you guys. I don't know if it's only members that attend your events, but there are other organizations for sure where non-members need to get their continuing education credits. So that'll be a good feature once they add that.
Stacy, you still had your hand up. Did you have another question?
Yeah, I have a couple here.
Okay.
And it's perfect because you're already on our site. So we noticed that some of the secondary members, when primary members added secondary members, they didn't go through approval. They were just added. Can you show us where that setting is?
There isn't. ClubExpress did confirm that. When you set it up to require approval by the board for a member, it's only the primary member.
Okay. That was just making it a little harder. We're running report and we had a lot more members added than we had approved. So that was a surprise. So we're trying to figure out how that went. And I thought I'd seen a setting, but understandable.
You can restrict secondary members from being added to a profile outside of the renewal process.
Okay.
If that's something you want to do. So that would mean that only at time of renewal can they add secondary members.
Ah, okay. Okay. And then if you can go into our committees, our sign up button for our committee volunteers, it has disappeared.
Well, that depends on, so you're saying adding themselves to each committee?
Yeah.
Right,
So
sign
if a
me up.
member goes in and wants and is looking at our committees and they wanted to add themselves to volunteer, those buttons were missing.
So that depends on whether or not you're allowing members to join the committee. So if we look at this one here, it says, so here, this one, you're tracking dates. So when you're tracking dates, you cannot, members cannot join. So if I turn,
Oh, okay. Good.
if I
Good to
turn
know.
track dates off, you see how that appears, members can add.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank
That's exactly what we
you.
needed. Go ahead and uncheck that because Stacy needs some new ones. I do too for my committee.
Yes,
So
please.
yes, let's leave it.
Thank you.
I know we were
So
like
the track dates, the
yeah.
track dates is really more for like board of directors when you have elections and stuff. But
Okay.
most of your committees, you
Gotcha.
probably don't need to track dates. So just turn that off and then click on the option to members can add themselves.
Great.
Okay, because I
Makes
know
sense.
that in the beginning I had one new member that added on and it added them automatically as the chair of the committee. So we figured out how that setting got in there. I was like, wait a minute, I got bumped.
And Yvonne, I believe it's still not notifying the chair, right? Or anybody that somebody signed up. We have to just check on it. Or is there a button?
In the committee, there is no chair. In the interest groups, there is a chair for the interest groups. And you don't have any category.
No.
So that's a
What?
little different. But committees, there is no, so you can assign a title to somebody in the committees, but there is no, like with a lot of the modules, for instance, like the event where you add an event contact. And then you can change it and say, notify that event contact when somebody registers or when somebody cancels. The committee doesn't work, committees don't work that way.
Okay. We'll figure it out. Looks like
Um,
Donna has a question too.
Well, before we get to Donna, Susie's had her hand up. Did Stacy have anything else from Washington while we're on their site?
I did, but I think I can save it for the next time because we were updating our tiers for the membership, and so I was going to ask how to do that, but I think there's videos out there, so I'll do a little research, and if I don't find what I need, I'll ask next time.
Well, it might be something real quick. You said you're updating your years?
Our tiers, our categories. So what we're doing is we'll have one price for members that are brand new, one price for members that are returning, and then the best option is dual members. So they'll have 3 tiers of pricing.
So what you would do is, for instance, this one is only available right now. You have it available, this option 2025 new. You have it available for new members and renewals. You would want to change that to make it only available for new members.
Gotcha.
And then only, so somebody who's first joining the association will see this as an option, but somebody who's
Perfect.
renewing will not see that option.
Perfect.
Now,
Okay.
what you're going to have to do though is, so then when they go to renew in 2026, they're no longer going to see this option and they're going to see the other options. But so
Perfect.
you're going to, same thing for full regular, you're going to have to make this only viewable. And I'm not going to make this change because I'm not sure it's what you want.
Yeah, it's not official yet.
Right. So you'd want to change that to new members only. So for
Perfect.
now, do you want this to stay as new members only, the 2025?
Not yet, just because we put it out to the membership to approve, and we have to wait 60 days for them to have that option, and we're about halfway through that.
Okay, so
Is
what
there a
we
draft feature for this? So we don't
Well, you
lose
can
it?
change it to admin only. So
Admin
Okay.
only. Yes, let's do
admin.
that, please.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes.
Thank you.
That's
Awesome.
a
Thank you
huge
for
help.
that.
Thank you.
Yay.
Much easier than I thought.
Thank you. We got the
That's
first
why
part.
we
We
have
just
this
couldn't get the
time
second part.
together. Susie, your hand raised. You have a question?
So I have issues with putting links in events. I'm sorry, with Columbia chapter.
And if you go to our site and look at our event that was on February 27th, it was a virtual meeting, and I put the link in the video link, and that did not work for anyone. So we got requests. So I went back and I put the link in additional information, and it worked there. So it was odd, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Okay, so where did you say the link was not working?
So if you go to location,
Okay, it's because it's too long of a link. So we
Okay.
had this just last time as well. When you're doing a Microsoft Teams meeting, the link is just way too long to copy or to paste in there. ClubExpress isn't going to support that link that long. So what you can do is either use bit.ly or tinyURL, and just do a short link. So you don't have to have an account. You can pay for an account if you wanted to, and that would just allow you to enter your own alias, like maybe 2025 leadership conference or something. But if you don't, that requires a paid, but you don't need to have a paid. And if you just drop in your long link and hit shorten, it's going to provide you. And see, this is where if you had a paid account, you could actually create that portion of the link. But if you're not worried about that, then you just take that link and you post it into the location, and then that tiny URL will work.
okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
If I test it, which I'm not going to do, I shouldn't do that because they'll probably kick us out of this Teams. I don't know. So not a good idea.
Yvonne, is that true for everywhere you put that link, that there's a size limit for it in various places?
I haven't seen, I don't think there's any other place where you put a video, a Zoom link. So yeah, so any link anywhere else. I mean, obviously you would not want to embed this link on a page. You would definitely do something more like if we did, I'm just going to real quickly here, put in formatted description. If we were to go into the formatted description and you wanted to do something, and let's pretend this is on a web page versus the formatted description, and you wanted to do something like that, you wouldn't want to put that ugly URL. You would just go to click here, insert a link, external page, drop the link in there, and then the link text would be here. Or you could do a button, but let's just do here. And now if somebody were to click on that link, it would open up the Teams meeting, and it would be a lot better than that long link.
Gotcha.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Donna had a question in the chat. Can we see the menu where you block primary members from adding members outside of renewal? Donna, what chapter are you with?
With co-op.
Co-op.
You
that's
just
right.
mentioned it in passing, and I didn't know if we could see where you could choose to do that.
Central Ohio. Yep.
Central Ohio?
Yes, sorry, Central Ohio. Yep.
So I have to remember, I believe it's either one of two places. So people options.
And we might have it set already.
Right.
I know that we had something pop up and I changed some sign. Okay, great.
Yeah. Sometimes I think about where things are, but so yeah, it's right here under secondary member, people options, people tab, people options, secondary members, and then right here.
Correct. Because we definitely had a time where a primary member signed up a secondary member, and because our settings were weird, it didn't charge any money for adding that person. And so I had to come in this screen and adjust some things. And I figured I had already fixed it, but I thought it might be helpful for everybody else if they also want that, where people can't just willy-nilly add folks, how can they turn it off? So thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Something else here that I didn't discuss before. after new member sign up. So this is when you have a new member join and you want to let the membership director know that somebody else has joined. You can make sure that this is set. There is a couple different options. No notification, which I believe is the default option. And then these other options here for notifying the membership director, whoever you have listed as your membership director when somebody joins. There is also under the payment, the money tab under money options, and notify treasurer on payments. Again, I believe this is automatically defaulted to no in ClubExpress. I do know that this is definitely defaulted to no, and this is, this is to notify members and non-members when they have an unpaid transaction, to remind them they haven't paid. So if that might be something you want to turn on, and then it asks you how many days after they initiate the open invoice do you want to remind them that they haven't paid. So that's another good option to perhaps set if you're interested in that.
Thank you. Amanda, you have your hand raised.
Good morning. I just, I think I know the answer, but I'm just looking for confirmation, I guess. I'm from IPPA, Iowa. So in events, you can set up a cost based on a calendar. So you've got your early registration and your normal registration. Can I assume that you can only do the two costs based on the calendar? Or is there ever an ability to do a third, like a late registration fee?
No, that the second pricing would be considered the late registration fee.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Just for those of you who've noticed and been logging in and seeing this, I don't know if you're aware of what it is. If you see this, it means you're on premium payment, which means that you get really good reports. If you switch, this is ClubExpress's merchant account. If you don't want to keep the premium payment option in ClubExpress, you can switch to basic, but you lose the reports that are built into ClubExpress, the really good reports. You'd have to sign into the Stripe account to actually find who paid and when they paid. There are ways that you can see in ClubExpress, but their reporting system is really good. The price did go up for premium from $2.99 to $3.15 per transaction on the credit card. If you are already a premium, you got grandfathered into that 3.15. If you're a new client who decides they want to go to premium, it's going to be 3.99. And if you're still not sure what you're going to do and you keep seeing this and it's driving you crazy, just click on remind me later and it'll disappear until the next time you log in. Otherwise, as you're navigating through the website, it's going to keep popping up on every single page.
Any other questions? Hand raise, come off mute in chat. Yvonne, were there any other subject matters to possibly go over? I know you started with a couple.
No, not really. There is something with secondary members where you might see that you have open transactions on a renewal for a primary, and it's showing perhaps a secondary member that was dropped from that primary, but yet it's still showing in their account. You just need to, if you see something like that, and I don't have an example to show you, you can come and ask me about it. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on both and all items checked, and then look for the person's last name. Let's just put in B. And most likely what is happening is they have multiple profiles. They could be a dropped, an expired, or a non-member profile. But in one of those profiles, if you find that there's multiple profiles for that person, if it's a non-member and you click on, let's see, do I have any? If you click on this last icon here, that's where you'll see transaction history, and it defaults to 12 months. But if you hit all, most likely there is an invoice, even though it's not coming up as they have to pay it, there's an invoice in there, and that's what has to be deleted for that person to drop off of the primary member's profile. But, just if you see something like that, just reach out to me because it'll make more sense if I had an actual profile to show.
Ginny has a question.
Yeah, Yvonne, I got a question on the web graphics for the banner. I believe I took down like the the measurements, right, to make sure that it's gonna fit. Um, but when I tried it, it didn't quite turn out when I was doing a preview. Can you kind of show us again how to do that?
Home 1A, home. I've seen this before on you and could not figure out what that was. And I haven't looked yet, so I'm going to get to it from here.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's
That
see.
yep.
So you are on the old
Mm.
banner.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a little bit more tricky to work with in this one
Oh,
than the new banner widget that they rolled out, I think last year
oh.
or end of 2023. Um,
Can we get updated to the new banner, or are we locked in here?
No, it might be something to ask Michael. So what the
Okay.
difference is just pull over a roll here. With the new one, let's see, where is it? The new carousel, you add the slide like this
Right.
instead of, so it's a lot, and then you find a image.
Mhm.
Let's see if we have anything. We'll just choose that one. And then you can include overlay. You can put heading, a caption. You can change the font. You can add links and say, we saved that one. Well, let's not include an overlay. And then you just click to add another slide. So that is a lot easier
Yeah,
than
definitely.
trying to go into the code and
Okay.
fix everything here. So I can ask Michael
Okay.
whether or not that can be easily switched, and I'll have to talk to Ronnie, of course, too,
Sure.
because I would
Okay.
think that it would have to be switched on all of them.
Okay. Wait, I'm glad I asked. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was able to do the code, but again, it was just like clunky. So thank you for letting me know.
In there, very easily
Yeah.
broken in there.
And then my second question, we're trying to revamp our newsletter. There's not like a template readily in the back end we could kind of play around with.
So are you talking about an emailed newsletter?
A newsletter that we post on our website, and something we also could like email as a link to the members.
What I have created for a different organization is, I think I have their login here, is a page newsletter. So here's an example of, well, I'm working on the March one, so we'll go to February.
Okay.
So this is something I've created in here, but it does require knowledge and working with it. At the top, there are anchors to drop you right down and then back to top. But it's a little trickier to work with. Once you know how to work with it, it's easy because it is just drag and drop rows. The trickiest part is probably this portion up here. And if you're not interested in creating anchors, then you really don't need to worry about that top portion. But anchors are easy to work with if you know how to work with them once you learn. But like I said, this is something you might want to do. And if I go in here, you'll see it's just drag and drop rows. And I've done the 25, 50, 25. I put a background color. It's once you don't need to recreate a line and a back to top all the time. All you have to do is just copy this row and then move it down. If you're putting in a new one, move down. If you have a feature that is something that you're not going to show every month, you can just hide the row for the 1 month. And then every month you just you copy that existing page and update a new page with a new custom page, and then you can link to the old versions because they're still
Okay.
active custom pages.
Okay, so this is not like save a template kind of feature. It's the version. So it just kind of gets repurposed every month?
Yeah, so no, I don't repurpose it. Like, for instance, I've created the March by copying the February. So I just go to the website, the custom pages,
Okay.
and category is lookout. So for when I go to create April's, I will just copy March's and rename it. And then it asks you which version, and I would go with the active version. Now, I have not changed that. You see it still says February, because the other thing you do in here is when you create it, you go to this little second one here, this little icon version, and see it still says February, even though it's March, and you can rename it here as well to March 2025. And then in the website menus, when that one is ready to go live, this is a members only tab. So that's where that is normally kept. But this is an admin tab. By the way, you can create an admin menu that only admins see.
Right.
And it's kind of nice because I throw things up here that I need to get quick access to. And when I'm logged in, I can see this menu tab, but nobody else can see that menu tab.
Okay.
And you have to create an admin category, an admin profile, and an admin menu, which if anyone is interested in doing that in the future, I can help you with that. But so that is my admins right here. So now I want to add the April. So I just go to the 2025 April, which really I haven't done anything with yet. Oops. April 2025, pull it over there. And now when I'm editing it and I need quick access because it's not really live yet, I mean, it is a live page, but it's not live on my website, I can just go there and make my changes and my edits there.
Nice.
And so what we've done here is for a lot of theirs is that's just like a little teaser text. And then when you click the read more, it opens up the full article.
Love the news article because we're already doing that. So we don't need to duplicate. This is awesome. Thank you, Yvonne. I know Nicole and I are like, yeah. We're always like, I need to make this easy, please. And people can pick and choose what they want, right?
Yeah, and it's nice because it drives people to your site.
Yes, exactly.
Reading
That's
email.
great. Thank you for that. My last question, I promise, is I remember now the email communications. I think I had you change the setting. I need to change it to like 120 days because now I'm realizing there's too many emails showing up in my email communications. So I want to start archiving after 120 days. Oh, under options. Gotcha.
Yeah. So
I guess I have it for 120 days already. Okay. Yeah, no, I guess we'll leave it at that. I mean, I could change it to 90 later, but I just noticed there's a lot in the email communications. So I thought maybe I put it to like 0 days, but I do have 120. So
yeah, but what this means, do you mean this?
Yes. I mean
that doesn't control that. What that does is can't use this site to do it. What that does is I guess I could have used that site. If you click on switch to view, what that is this.
Right.
It's
correct.
Page. So it'll show 120 days worth of, okay.
Yes,
it's not
that's the one.
It's not the admin where you're seeing all of these. These you have to actually archive to get rid of.
Correct. Yes. No, it was exactly where you showed, which is the external. Because I showed that to our members at the summit to say, hey, if you don't want to read our emails, but you want to review it here, you could go here too. So, but I just couldn't remember how many days I set it so now I know. It was the options button. Thank you.
Jenny, can I just do a shout out? I love that you've taken time out of an event, whether it's like you said, a summit, a membership meeting to actually teach your members how to use your website. I think that's so critical to get the most out of all the work you guys are doing on the back end, is to teach them where to find things and to use things. So kudos to you guys for doing that. Nicole, I know you waited patiently. We can't hear you, Nicole.
Hello, hello.
There you are.
Oh, sorry. I think you answered all my questions with the newsletter. I was just wondering if there was a better way to do it, and you showed it. So thank you. I'm
And
excited.
You can do when you're emailing the newsletter. I'm sure you've seen that, right? Where you can add news articles and stuff. It's just, I think the page looks nicer. It's just whether or not somebody wants to invest the time to do the page. It takes a little bit more time, probably double or triple the time. But if you don't have a ton, it's not that much. And and I think for the aesthetics, it's much better.
It's definitely more visually appealing.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to the NIGP look and feel, and that's what I was after, because ours is so many pages and people are complaining it's too long, and like, how often do we want to do it if we're doing it quarterly? But since you're here, Yvonne, are you able to just go to the control panel and show us the certificate? I don't know if you have to log in as me or find me in our chapter, but I think we did that little demo last time, but now that I know I was able to execute the certificate, I think it would be good to show these guys what it looks like as a member after post event. The actual like certificate that printed out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't go to my own profile. There is no profile for me in here.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I could show it in another website, but you want to look at your own. Let's see.
Okay, yeah, sure. That'll be similar.
See if I can. So if you go to your event history, if you see this icon, that means that is their certificate.
And even though it's a printer icon, it's actually a PDF when you click it.
Yeah. Now you can't see the certificate yet, right?
You can. I mean, I can. Oh, I mean, you mean on the screen here?
Yeah. So share. I say this every time. I'm not as good with Teams.
Yeah, it's the same window.
So that's how this certificate looks.
And apologies on this one. I discovered that when I added the certification after my last name, that it bled over. And so I took it out now of my profile because it's in there somewhere else. So now I saw another member and hers is definitely centered. So don't use this as the example, but like I fixed myself. Like I didn't have to have it. And it's weird because my name is twice in there, but that's what it looks like. It goes into a JPEG, even though it's a printer icon. It's weird, but yeah.
I love your seal on there.
Yeah,
I think that's cool. Cool.
Yep.
Other questions? Oh, I'm sorry, Yvonne, you had something else?
No, yeah. So I was just going to say, when you're creating that certificate, let's see, certificate. If you expand this box, and then so like, let's say you wanted to go the full width, and then you make the alignment center, now the name will center on that line. And I'm not going to save.
All right, we'll do that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have 15 minutes, 15 minutes here. Anybody else has any questions? Comments, things to share?
I do want to add one more thing after the after event. So where Yvonne showed the after event stuff, she mentioned it at the last office hours, that even though you go to the after event, you create the certificate, you create the survey for the post event, it does not email it to people. So do you mind clicking on emailings there, Yvonne, and show them how we ended up emailing our members? Yeah, it's that one.
Show up or no?
Yeah, it's that first one. on the top.
Okay, so I opened up the email, so I wasn't sure if you.
Yes, yes,
so.
please open up the email. Yeah. Oh,
Oops. No, I did not mean to do that. Now I don't know how to stop that. The window. Here we go.
so this is what we ended up sending out right after the event, where we asked them to do the survey and we opened it for a week. And then we told them how to access their certificate, how to access a PowerPoint presentation, and then the recording on our YouTube channel. So now we can use this as our first sample. And yeah, within the hour, I think we got like 10 surveys response right away. And the survey is an ad hoc form. So that's what we
you said
did.
you're an ad hoc, right?
Yep. So I just wanted to show that if anybody is interested on that soup. So it was our first time. I had to keep trying something new. I'm just having too much fun back there, I think.
Power user. That's an understatement, Ginny. Any other questions? We have a few more minutes. If not, Yvonne, did you have anything else for the group?
Nope.
Nope.
Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for one-on-one training with your group, if you want to sign up for that, there is a hand raised there, but Ronnie sent an email out for that. And if you need her to resend it, please send her an email and she can resend it.
Kaliska?
Hi, this is Kaliska with OPPA, and I have a question about I don't know if it's ad hoc is the word, but the templated forms in the back of the website. For instance, like, like if there's a renewal or whatever, like, there's templated language back on the back end of the website. We would like to edit one of those letters, and I'm not sure, is that something we can do?
So I'm assuming you're talking about the system email that
The
goes
system
out.
emails, yes, yeah.
So communications, system emails, and then you will see this long list of system emails. A lot of them may not have anything to do with you. You have to remember that ClubExpress has thousands and thousands of clients that run the gambit, and they have like ski clubs that have to lodges where you reserve a bed. So a lot of these emails are not going to have anything to do with you. You just have to figure out which ones do have to do with you. And yes, you can edit them. For instance, renewal 1, 2, and 3. So first of all, I recommend everybody go into their system emails, and the emails that are going to apply to you, turn on tracking. So you click on the icon, the wrench icon, and then turn on tracking. You can also change the subject line. ClubExpress has a generic subject line. If you want it to be a different subject line, you can do that. You can also, under your universal settings here, you can change it that you want it to go to from a specific address and a specific name, a specific reply to. You can do that. If you do it here, it's going to take care of all of the system emails, or you can zero down to specific emails. Like for instance, this one, it was set to go from info at. But so you want to turn on the tracking, and then then you'll see this little graph appear, which means if somebody says they didn't get the email, you can check and see if they really did get the email. And not only that, if we go to this one that was already turned on, it'll say that this email was sent on 3/11 at 11:45 and it was opened at 11:45. So all of these other people who did a password reset where there's no open, they never open. They clicked on reset my password but didn't open it.
Okay.
And you can see Scott did it a couple of times, probably going to his spam, and he's not getting the email.
Okay.
So I recommend turning on tracking. It is a very useful tool. They only started allowing this about 1.5 years ago, if that. So I highly recommend it. But anyway, going down to the emails, you can generally tell based on the description what the email is for. And if you're not sure, and if you're not sure the subject line, send yourself a test. So if you send yourself a test email, you'll see what the subject line is, and maybe you don't like what the subject line is, so then you can change it. But if you click on the pencil icon, you can change the text of the email to whatever you want it to say. The only thing you have to be very careful of are the tags, the system tags. You don't want to mess with the system tag. If you break the link for this system tag, and here, if I go into, see, there is an actual Ahref, or however you pronounce it, link for that, click here. If you break that, what the member is going to get is actually tilde club underscore name tilde. That's what they're going to get in their email because you broke the system. So be very, very careful. There's also additional tags that ClubExpress has added over the last few years. There might be a tag that you want to add to yours. Like here's something I hate that they don't put a period. So anyway, to add a system tag, maybe you want to add, let's see, emergency contact email. You would just choose the system tag, put your cursor where you want it, and then insert tag. And that's how you create a new tag in your email. I'm not going to save this. And then once you've created or edited your email, just send yourself a test. Some of the system tags, if you send yourself a test of the renewal system, the renewal URL link for right here is generated specifically for each member. So when you get this email, if you send yourself a system a test, it's not going to have a link for renewal. It's going to be, it's not going to, that's going to be broken because it's a specific URL for every single individual member that gets populated when that email goes out to them. But most of these other system tags will populate with the correct information.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then if for some reason you hate it and you messed it up and completely destroyed it, hit the trash icon. It'll revert back to the generic ClubExpress one with working system tags, and then go back and edit it again.
Oh, perfect. That's good to know. Thank you.
You had never thought a trash would actually revert back.
And so if you see a trash can, that means that you've set up, you've edited it. If you don't see a trash can, you're just using the generic one.
Got it.
Any other questions? Yvonne, I don't see anything else for today. Lots of good discussion today. Thank you very much for sharing. If that's it, then we'll see you guys at the next one.
Great.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.